you're looking for people to meet,
Mhm.
perhaps you want to get a band together,
Mm.
and you're from our era,
Especially from our era.
what do you use to find those people? Craigslist.
Hey, everybody, find the best. Look at this. I found this guy on Craigslist.
Welcome back to the Same Business, Different Day podcast, where we dive into stories and experiences of some of the most dynamic and successful entrepreneurs in the business world. I am your host, Zeke Corley, and today I'm honored to welcome two exceptional individuals, Chris Swimley and Jared Southard. What sets our goals and our guests apart is their ability to juggle multiple ventures and thrive in each one. From their drive and determination to their unwavering focus, Chris and Jared embody the entrepreneurial mindset and have proven that anything is possible with hard work and determination. So sit back, relax, and prepare to be inspired as Chris and Jared show us all about their business each and every day. Welcome, guys.
Thank you, Zeke.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks
Thank
for
you so
having
much, man. We've been waiting on this one.
Yeah.
And look, guests that bring gifts. And we're sipping on this beautiful little tequila right here. And but you know what though? The reason why we do things like this is, first of all, you know, as we say with the logo, the balance of business and pleasure, right? So you've got the briefcase, but you've also got the sunglasses, right? So in good business, every successful entrepreneur has to find a way to balance business and pleasure, right?
Absolutely.
So there's that, but at the same time, this is a celebration to your success, right?
Cheers.
Yes,
Cheers.
yes.
It's an art form.
I love it. I love
Eye
it.
contact,
I got it.
All right.
Sip after. Sip after.
Oh, sip after? Did
Yeah,
I
don't
miss
forget
that?
that.
I
Yeah,
sip
you got
of
one.
that. Oh, ah.
All right.
If you did, then we got an extra sip out of you.
We've already had a couple to warm us up for this.
That's
so
it.
We're ready to go.
This bottle wasn't full, guys, we promise.
Yeah.
Let's, I want to start from the beginning, really honestly, because the journey matters, right? And so I'll start with you, Chris. Where were you born?
Well, crazy enough, Oahu, Hawaii.
Okay.
My dad was an entrepreneur, and he grew up in Stockton, of all places, in the ghetto.
Okay.
A real rough childhood, and I was always looking for a business venture, and got into jet skis, of all things. Like he owned a motorcycle shop. There's so much. It's such a big can of worms. Just got to describe how I got there.
He owned a motorcycle shop.
He owned a motorcycle shop after doing a bunch of other businesses, but he got into jet skis, which got him to Hawaii, and then that's where I was conceived. So I was basically born in Oahu, and then
I did not know this.
Yeah. I want you guys to learn some things about each other
I got
today.
a deep. There's a lot of story behind
number
that.
one fact that I didn't know about you.
I'll make it quick though, but for many reasons, they ended up back in like the Roseville area. So that's kind of where I was born and raised, was Roseville.
Okay.
But inevitably, childhood was in El Dorado Hills, little really crazy tiny town, which was I loved, but insanely small. And the first 18 or so years of my life was just in this really tiny community, kind of next to Sacramento, which is how I ran into this guy.
Yeah,
right here.
yeah. Jared, how about you? Were you born in Puerto Rico? Give us a good one.
Born in San Jose.
San Jose.
Oh,
okay, that's my
dang.
hometown.
I didn't know that.
How many hospitals are in San Jose? Maybe one, two? I don't
know. No.
Probably the hospital there.
Yeah. I found a way to avoid the hospitals when I was in San Jose.
Yeah, good for you.
I was born in Hollywood Kaiser, so.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, dude, Kaiser too.
Yeah.
Oahu. Kaiser, I think, was the place. I think it was all over the
I
place.
bet, yeah.
Yeah. So San Jose, and fast forward 24 years, we used to play the Blank Club in San Jose. I don't know if you remember that dive bar out there.
Blank.
The Blank
No.
Club, yeah. Shout out to Blank Club.
Yeah.
But born in San Jose, raised up in Sacramento area, suburbs, Fair Oaks, Folsom.
Yeah.
And then started the band, and then migrated to downtown
Okay, he's skipping ahead. He's skipping.
Okay, I'm going too
He's
fast.
watching Chris. He's
Anyway.
going a little too fast.
Okay,
So
okay.
no, because
Did
I'm
I go
really
too
because you
fast?
know what? No.
Yeah.
There's really no rules here, guys. Let's have some fun. But the
Yeah.
thing about it is, because I really want to kind of rewind back and just find out if you had any aspirations, thoughts about what you wanted to be when you grew up before you got.
Okay,
I
great.
got a good story about that.
Please.
Yeah. Then you.
No. Go for it, man.
Okay.
No.
So when I was young, it was really interesting. I was very much sports.
Okay.
You know, a lot of like baseball, soccer, all the basketball, and it's just you just don't know. You're just doing kind of going through the motions. My
Sure.
folks put me into all that, but then I'm trying to put my finger on it, but I think it was more just to hook up with girls. I was somehow music entered the equation.
Shocking.
Oh, I know.
Shocking.
My buddy, first childhood friend down the street, still a buddy of mine today, Andy Tucker, shout out to him. He was introducing me to Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, Beatles, Pink Floyd, and this is when he brought a tape, and then I would borrow the tape, I would listen to it, and then we got to where we would had a tape deck, and we would, he would copy the music onto a blank tape, and that's how I listened to it. And then I was just mesmerized by the Beatles. The Beatles are just huge.
Yeah.
And I heard Ringo on the drums, and I was like, drums, this is it for me.
Oh, really?
So you knew early on that you wanted to be a drummer.
Yeah, I was 13, I was just in my room listening. It's All Too Much from the Beatles. I know the exact song. Just like going like this. It's like, okay, this is what I want to do. It's like, I'm done. It's over.
What's funny is I can hear the Ringo in you a little bit.
Yeah,
He's a very
huge.
interesting drummer.
Yeah, very particular. I copied every single thing about him. But so my dad, being a cool guy, was like, there was nobody. I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So he calls the one music shop, which is like, Cameron Park, which is like 45 minutes away. And he's like, calls the guy up. And I was there when he made the call. Yeah, my son wants to be a rock star. How does he get some lessons to be a rock star? Yeah, he thinks he's going to be this big famous rock star.
Yeah.
And my drum teacher for like 10 years after that was this amazing studio drummer that had been all over the world, super successful, and just ended up in this little tiny town. And I met him. And it was just like hooking up with all my dreams. He taught me everything I wanted to learn, and had all these amazing stories of every famous person you could possibly think of that he played with. And man, I was
just a real quick insert.
Yeah,
the singer of Supertramp. I don't know if you remember that 70s band. He lived out in that area. So just the drummer that you were taking lessons from just seems to like live in the middle of nowhere. A lot of these kind of like very successful musicians ended up kind of just hiding out
looking for
there.
nowhere to go.
Yeah,
that's where they want to live.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Okay, so Jared, what did you think about you wanted to be when you grew up to get girls?
What did I want to do? Okay.
No, you know
musician.
the question. You know the question. You always wanted to be a musician.
I was surrounded by music.
Okay.
My father was a touring musician with Dick Dell, king of surf guitar.
Yeah.
And then my grandfather had a quartet, the Southard Brothers Quartet.
Okay.
And I have video of him. He was the guitar. He was the only one playing an instrument, but it was the four of them singing, just beautiful voices.
Wow. Did you know your grandfather?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a memory of him coming over because my dad had like a Tascam home studio, and it was during the holidays. And my grandpa was probably in his 60s or 70s, and he recorded a version of White Christmas. And so I have like a kind of a nostalgic memory of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was surrounded by music my whole life, and I wasn't serious about it until I kind of lived a little bit of life, through my teenage years.
Okay. Tell us about that life, though. What about first jobs?
First jobs, I was an entrepreneur. At
really?
12 or 13 years old, I designed my own jewelry. My mom made jewelry.
Okay.
And so I made earrings out of Fimo clay, and I would join her at craft shows because I was artistically inclined.
Sure.
And so she said, I have a way for you to make some money. And so I started doing little frogs and animals and out of Fimo clay, and the women ate it up. I should have stuck with it. I'd be better off than I am now.
You can always start again.
Yeah.
It's not too late. You're a young man.
Anyway.
That's awesome. I love that story. And I love, actually, both of you guys your parents stepped in and helped you with your dream.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were very supportive, especially
Very
with
supportive.
drums. Because drums, like, even the neighbors are calling.
It's not cheap. It's noisy.
Yeah. It was, and then my brother got a guitar shortly thereafter, because then we were doing music, and then the whole neighborhood heard it. And
Called the cops.
Yeah, many times.
They weren't as supportive as your parents.
No. But I will say that for them, that was a huge thing. The support is really crucial, because, I mean, it's easy when you're young. People want, I don't know, it's a whole thing, especially when I moved to LA, and too, everybody's all about shouting you down.
Yeah.
How you're not going to succeed, your stuff sucks. Yeah.
Well, that's so interesting that you say that, because that still plays into the conversations that we have here, right? I do love the support of the parents. And I wonder if that really is a contributing factor to all successful entrepreneurs, or at least what percentage of successful entrepreneurs had their parents say, yes, you can. Because there are plenty of folks, I guess I've had enough conversations to admit that there are a few who have their parents said, forget that, go to school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they went off and did something else instead, or wound up with a corporate job or something like that. You could never do that. Just, why don't you just focus on your classes, and then, some of them, and this could be also cultural. Want you to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Want you to be a lawyer. This is it. This is what we do, and so you guys didn't have to deal with that.
Because I listened to a lot of things. That's why I like your podcast too. Is
Thank you.
You hear enough stories. You hear the parents are not supportive. The parents are supportive. It's they were broke. They had the money. To me, it's just like this inner thing, and you either want it or you don't. You got this drive. I mean, there's plenty of people that go do the most mundane things, and they just sit there and whatever the job is in any industry, and they're just they're completely fine. I was never like that. It was always up, something different. It could be better, always.
Okay.
But I feel like that's what it's like for a lot of people that are successful. I mean, but then there's also people too where that puts them in a place of they're broke because they don't make a lot of good decisions.
Sure.
It can go either way, but if you can, I think if you're open and you want to learn consistently and grow and evolve and recognize your mistakes and learn from them, then you will ascend. You won't decline.
The support is crucial, but also the willingness to take risks.
Yeah.
And to fail, and to assess that failure and just kind of move forward from that, and try to be better, learn from your mistakes. For me, is the whole enchilada.
Yeah.
So the support is kind of like it's one of the first steps, and I came from, two parents that were artists. So I got kind of lucky on that one. I landed into a lucky, parental paradigm.
Yeah.
But, my mom still wanted me to have that backup plan. Go to college.
My mom too.
Or some sort of trade school. So that's a good mama.
Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by YourInsurancePlace.com. Owning a business is hard work. You put your blood, sweat, and tears into it every single day. You need a partner who understands the ins and outs of insuring small to medium-sized businesses. For over 40 years, our California Property and Casualty Insurance Agency has insured businesses just like yours. We've seen it all, and we've learned a thing or two about what it takes to keep your business protected. That's why we offer free policy assessments. We'll take a look at your policy and let you know if there are any gaps in your coverage. Let us help you to protect what you've worked so hard to build. YourInsurancePlace.com.
Hello friends, I'm Joe Samo. I'm an attorney in San Diego, and I'm the host of Run It By My Lawyer. It's a great podcast where you will learn a lot about the law, and it is very entertaining if I say so myself. And you could get it for free anywhere you get your podcasts, and you could follow us on Instagram at Run It By My Lawyer.
Hi, I'm Rachel Belt, host of Velocity, the Vista Chamber podcast. Join me as I sit down with Vista's movers, shakers, and changemakers. let's move Vista forward with velocity.
What did you do at school?
Absolutely not.
I
told you what mom wanted. I didn't tell you what I did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not the best at taking orders.
Me neither. I think that's every entrepreneur on the freaking planet.
Especially the artists.
So
Yeah.
I did go to junior college. I studied art, and then I fell out and started the band. I got bored and started a rock and roll band at that point, and started the Low Flying Owls.
Low-flying.
And then down the line, I did go back to school and I studied UX design.
You went back later.
Yeah.
How much later?
Quite a bit.
No, it's okay. I mean, I'm interested.
We're talking like a few years ago. I went back to school.
Awesome.
I studied UX design. I went through the course and I realized, I don't really want to do this either.
Yeah.
But at least, it was still good for my brain.
You took the step.
Yeah.
You took the step.
On that same note, so in high school, folks pushed me real hard to like do SATs and you're going to go to some school or whatever. So I'm like doing all these crazy hours, doing all this stuff. Come to find out, my folks kind of split, and not kind of, they split. And, school wasn't the thing. It's like, so maybe junior college, which was awesome because like when you're young, what I really discovered is like, you have no freaking clue. So when I went to junior college, I did art, which is what I loved to draw, and along with the music, and I did business. Accounting and all that stuff. And so that's kind of, accounting is what I ended up doing for many years later, which I think pays off. I think if anything, for any entrepreneur to understand is like, you need to know the books. I mean, that's a big thing, whether or not you do it yourself, but you get like a bookkeeper and you have QuickBooks Online and you do all that stuff and you keep track of money, you have a budget, you build your credit, all those things. But like for me, so my dad was an entrepreneur, he had a business and did all this stuff, but he never kept track of the money, ever. He always put it in someone else's hands, and so he didn't end up having any money. And my mom was always very responsible. She was like the fiscal person, and so her and my stepdad are doing really well. I mean, they're taken care of. They have plenty of cash, or live in a nice home. They're taken care of and all that stuff.
Wow.
So I got to see both paradigms and really learned like how important those things are. So like, set up your 401k. I mean, it sounds boring and dumb, but save that money.
Yeah.
Invest in property. When you build your business, make sure your credit's good. Get a line of credit. All those things. I got off topic though because we were talking about school. Okay. I went to
Let me
junior
just
college.
say though real quick. Bring that back. We're gonna bring that back.
Yeah.
But I love everything you just said. I think that's a great story. I think it makes so much sense. And one of the things I thought you were about to say is that you advise everybody who goes to school. I would at least say this: everyone who goes to school who doesn't know what they want to major in business.
100%, all the way.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Business is all around you, no matter what.
Applies
You don't
to
know
everything.
you're going to go to school.
1,000%.
It's all the same. Every single thing out there is just a business. You're selling a product. And I think that's how it was a huge come around for me, because I tried to be a studio drummer, touring drummer. That's all I wanted to do, play for these famous people, do all this stuff. And I did all that stuff and still ended up broke. So I did the junior college, but then from like, I want to say it was a good solid 10 years. I hit 30 and I'd done pretty much everything musically that I'd wanted to do, play for huge crowds, tour, do all this stuff, had no money.
Yeah.
And my wife had a decent job and we were living in the Bay Area, and I'm just like, I'm done being broke. I'm done just surviving, because you tour, you don't make any money. You come back, you got to get another job. I've had every job under the sun. There isn't a job I haven't had. And I'm over it. And so
No job?
What's that?
There's no job you've never had?
I've been janitor. I've delivered pizza. I've done construction.
Wow.
I made a list once. I've had 30 different jobs.
Wow.
I used to joke about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because every time I would go tour, I'd have to quit and I'd have to come back and I'd have to get a new job, and I would take any job that would pay me. And so I went back to school for graphic design, which is what led me into my whole t-shirt business.
He designed this shirt, which I love.
Yeah, so I was an artist, and I was
Brilliant.
like, how do I make money being an artist? And then also, I'm not savvy with technology or anything like that. And
I can,
he can attest. I'm horrible. So
Horrible.
t-shirts was like, I was like, that's simple. I had done shirts myself in the past, and it led me down this whole road. And I can switch it over to you, but that's kind of like...
back to education, though.
Yeah.
I want to finish your thought on education.
When I was 30, I went back to school for graphic design. I went to San Francisco State. And what I learned
love
was...
that area, San Francisco State.
Oh, it's beautiful. We were living in Berkeley. My wife went to UC Berkeley. She's a scientist. Crazy smart. Crazy got it together. I'm very lucky to be with her. And when I went, what I realized was all my teachers, when I eventually learned, all went to junior college to learn how to do all their stuff. So I was like, guess what, everybody? You don't have to spend any money. Go to junior college and learn everything you want to learn. It's all there. It's cheap. It's better. And
that's a fact.
But got my degree, and which then led me to eventually get my job in the screen printing industry, which is T-shirts and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So, Jared, help us learn how you guys met.
How we met. So the years
The
are
old school.
Tell the story. Don't tell the story you just told me.
The years are pretty blurry.
Okay.
So I had a rock and roll band, Low Flying Owls, and we were playing, around Sacramento and all over the place. And Chris and his brother used to come to our shows, Nick. And I vaguely remember you guys. No.
Yeah.
But so that would probably be the first time we met. And then if you want, we can fast forward about how many years? I don't know. So,
man, he's got so many great stories too of his band going to LA and record deals and being in amazing studios and stuff. But
yeah, we can get into that too. But talking about you, so this is a funny story, Zeke.
Please.
Enjoy this.
Please.
So I had been living off and on in the Joshua Tree area.
Okay.
Being a weirdo artist and hanging out with my best
Mateo's
friend
going there
out
next week for his birthday.
Oh,
nice.
All right, Red Dog and Pappy's, but definitely visit Red Dog. You'll love it. So I had come back to San Diego, and I thought, you know what? I love it here. I'd done LA for probably about 10, 12 years. I can't, it's fuzzy. And I was tired of the anxiety and the hyper energy of that town. And every time I'd come, visit San Diego, I just thought, it's really nice here.
Sure.
Like, why am I ignoring this town? Like, maybe I should just be here. And my family's here.
Yeah.
My folks are getting older. And so I, came back to San Diego, and I when you're looking for people to meet, and perhaps you want to get a band together, and you're from our era,
especially from our era,
what do you use to find those people? Craigslist.
Hey, everybody, find the best. Look at this. I found this guy on Craigslist. So this guy was on Craigslist.
I posted a music ad on Craigslist. Hey, looking for musicians. And I thought, why not? What am I going to do? Put an ad up at Guitar Center or something? So I got on Craigslist and I put an ad looking for musicians.
Very well made ad,
and
by the way.
I've played with bands like Blonde Redhead, Clinic, Black Rebel Motorcycle Club. I put kind of our resume from the Low Flying Owls on there. I get an email from this ad. Hey, is this Jared? I didn't put Low Flying Owls on the ad. Is this Jared from the Low Flying Owls? This guy.
Like, no freaking way,
dude.
I found every bandmate I've ever been in, and I'm gonna have to sit down because I've been through a million bandmates, and all through Craigslist because that was really the only. I'm old school.
So to sum it up, Zeke. Yeah. He hit the jackpot. And it's a good thing. Oh, sorry. It's a good thing he was on Craigslist that day.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's
so that is essentially how we rekindled our bromance
Right.
was Craigslist.
Mhm.
So
And
give Craigslist a chance.
and the reason you pounded his chest is because that's where your autograph is.
Exactly. Exactly.
Still a little sore.
It's Zeke, it's a tattoo.
It's a tattoo now.
Yeah, it says low
He
flying
didn't want to
owls.
wash it off.
Yeah.
Just draw it in.
So we you know, just
But you were an admirer, though, Chris. It seemed to me that you thought it was a great band, and you thought he was great at what he did.
Yeah, like from where I was from, such a small town, and seeing him,
Mhm.
like they were the pinnacle
Yeah,
of the coolest. And like, hey, these guys are gonna be all that.
yeah,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, he still is. And it's just funny because I think if you, not even a couple years, 2-3 years, if you'd come just a hair earlier,
yeah.
Low Flying Owls would be as famous as any other band you ever heard. But like literally both of us, all that, it was just like whole experience. And
The timing.
it's just the crashing down of the industry.
It crashed.
So
Right.
hard. We were both there during that downcline.
Well, okay, because we're going to get into the reveal and talk about the second half of this story. But before I jump too far ahead, let's just stay in this area real quick and just talk about the industry a little bit. Each of us has our own experiences.
Oh yeah.
But you guys having record deals and all, and then Napster, as we were just talking about before, like changed everything. Like, what was that like? And we talk about, as you guys were mentioning earlier, trying something and then, failures or, regrets and this kind of thing, but still pushing forward. What was that time period like for you?
Well, I was living in LA and I was in a band. I was a drummer forever, and the band that I was in had moved to LA, had signed a record deal, and that fell apart pre-Napster. And then this thing Napster comes out of nowhere, and then I had done my own thing, and
Don't mind if I do.
had for the first time had written my own songs, got a record deal, recorded an album. My album was being shopped, and then the transition was where you used to have to like buy music. You used to have to pay for it. You used to have to go somewhere
hard copy.
Yeah, like it was a commodity that you
miss
couldn't
those
just.
days.
Yeah.
I miss going to the. We do go into the record store still,
Mhm.
but I miss the textile feel
Tuesday,
going up.
release.
Yeah,
Amoeba
everything.
Records.
Oh, yeah.
Tower Records.
Rasputin's.
The Beat in Sacramento.
Yeah, the Beat was our place.
The
Yeah.
Beat.
What was the other
Yeah.
one? It was Dimple Records.
Dimple was big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dimple.
Tower.
And then,
Tuesday release day. You know that album's coming out. Boom.
I
Oh, there was so
know.
much of that.
Tupac, All Eyes on Me. I'll never forget the day, the first song.
Oh my gosh.
No, but go ahead, finish your story.
Oh, well, so yeah, it went from it was a transition, which I feel like a lot of things are, where it'd be like having a job as an accountant, and you used to get paid good money as an accountant, and then all of a sudden accounting became free.
Mm-hmm.
But you loved accounting, but then if you wanted to do it, you were just going to do it for free. I mean, that's essentially what it was. People, there was like a way to sell it in an avenue, and then all of a sudden everybody could just have access to it for nothing.
That's
and
a
the
good way
bottom
to
just
put it.
completely dropped out. Like Capitol went out of business. The Interscope went out. It was just like everybody's going out of business, and you used to be able to make a record, a quality record. You spend a lot of money on it, and you go to these people. You would sell it. It would be this like steamrolling thing. Obviously, at a point, you would have to sell and gain traction. But then there's still like your point where you have the payola and the and then like there was a lot of different ways to push things ahead.
And I think overall, if what you're saying, there's a lot of truth to it. And when we were doing our thing, we were able to squeak out a couple records and sell, a few thousand records. And then I saw that door close, like you said. And I think it was very hazy. It was like walking out into the fog, and nobody really knew what to do. And I remember the record label we were on telling us, and I was in my 20s, and I thought I knew everything, of course.
Sure.
Didn't you? Didn't you?
Yeah.
And I knew I had all the answers to the world. And the label said, you know what? Where we're going, you're going to make all your money off of live performances and touring. And I said, hogwash.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what, that's not going to be it.
Mhm.
fast forward, and these two, the two that were the head of the label were definitely tastemakers.
Yeah.
They were
They were 100%
1,000% right. And that's exactly where the industry went.
Mhm.
And it's today is still where artists are making their money, is touring
That's a
and
fact.
live shows.
That's right.
And the paradigm completely changed. And to a certain degree, it might be more artist friendly.
Mhm.
It's a lot more work
Mhm.
than it used to be,
Yeah.
because you have to be your creative director. You have to make the music. You've got, you wear all the hats now.
Yeah.
Whereas it used to be, delegated to a team. We don't have that anymore. I mean, it in some instances,
You can hire them all yourself, though. That's the kind of thing where it's the never-ending
True.
deal. You hear
Yeah.
where they said, "Oh yeah, we did your video and it cost $70,000."
Yeah.
And maybe
But-
it costs whatever. You know?
but more than anything now, it's definitely the artist doing everything more than they used to do. And I
But they
think
own more, though.
yes, and the only thing that's wrong and broken and wrong in capital letters is the streaming services.
I agree.
Absolutely, they're criminal.
This fraction of the price, whatever this is,
Criminal. The money
makes
they're
no
making,
sense.
the CEOs are making, is criminal, and it's very hard for me to even post my music up there. I think it's wrong, and at some point the industry has to change if they want to nurture another artist like Nirvana, like the Pixies, like Pink Floyd, like, Wu-Tang Clan. I mean, you want to go across all the genres
Yeah.
of these artists who were successful. It's getting, to the point where they just can't make any money unless
Yeah.
they're out there on the road, and it's
media
exhausting.
too, though. It's media. I think media is going through right now what music went through back when we were having our issue, which is where they're all spilling over into like podcasting,
Yeah.
because it's exactly the same thing.
Mhm.
You're trying to. There's clearly no money in it. Anybody can go buy a major media. I mean, maybe with some decent money, but they're kind of like they've all kind of went out of business,
Yeah.
and then they've spilled into podcasting.
Mhm.
And then so how do these podcasts, like bands, make money, get traction, do all those things? But it's the information now too. It's become like music, where how do you turn it into like a commodity?
It's hard to turn it into a commodity. One of the things for sure is that kind of all we have is that the audience follows the host.
Yeah.
The audience follows the band. They're trying to usurp. If they can get whoever's in the middle out of the middle, then the audience will be there for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forget the oversaturation and all that. Sure, there's plenty of music out there, just like there's plenty of podcasts. There's 2.5 million podcasts in the world, but they're not going to stop creating new ones.
Oh yeah.
Probably 10 times more bands.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So, that's fine, to have that much content. Because the audience is going to, once you get the audience to find you, then they can continue to follow you. But is somebody going to step in the middle and say, hey, that's my dollar?
Yeah.
Now you're less motivated to put it out on these streaming systems and all, right? And so that's what you're saying. And that's the difficult part.
Yeah.
I think you, at the end of the day, though, end up with a better product, because me personally, a really awesome dude signed me for a deal, helped me make a record. But by the time I was done, I don't remember the value of it. He gave it, but maybe he said, and he was a very awesome guy, gave me a chance, did my first record, said the value of the record was like $30,000. Then we'd try to go to these labels and try to sell it for $70,000.
Yeah.
When we do I mean, it's a little different now because you have technology and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You can, and look, what you're doing here, the quality, the level of quality is phenomenal. The value out of it is so much higher.
Sure.
But I think you do so much more because you understand what you're doing more than any other outside person would.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of truth there.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
So,
I appreciate
absolutely.
that. Okay, it's time for the reveal.
Oh.
Again, this is a celebration, and I really appreciate the conversation with you
Oh
guys.
yeah.
I know you guys got ahead of yourselves, and you think you might have guessed it, that these guys are rock stars, but actually they're not. I want to reintroduce you today to Chris Swimley and Jared Southard, the dynamic duo behind Machine Print Shop. With over 10 years of experience in the branded merchandise industry, Chris and Jared have become true experts in their field. They have worked with some of the biggest brands in the world, including Yeti, Google, Coors, and Tony Hawk, just to name a few. Their passion for graphic design, screen printing, and embroidery shines through every project they take on. Okay, so I lied. Their talents don't stop there. These two are also the creative force behind their band, Heady Days, which you can find on all streaming platforms. And trust me, their music is not to be missed. Chris and Jared, we are so happy to have you here. Welcome
Thanks for
to the
having
show,
us.
man.
Oh
Yo,
my
man.
gosh, you kidding me?
Yeah,
Pleasure.
no.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
I'm having a blast, man, and it's not just the tequila. I promise you, this bottle was only half
It has
full
a
when we started.
bit to do with it. Just a little bit.
Nah, that ain't.
Yeah.
So let's start with the Machine Print Shop. Print Shop. How'd that all come about? And
So I went to school, back to school, did graphic design, and the only job I was trying to get a job for free. I couldn't even get it. It was in San Francisco during a depression, essentially. Like no one was hiring, couldn't even get an internship.
you know what's funny? I'm sorry to interrupt you because this is it kind of goes back to that Craigslist conversation, right? Now everybody's on like this Fiverr and all of these little apps and ways where you can just get a job doing some quick design, graphic design or something like
Right.
that. You couldn't get a job when you were looking for one.
I couldn't get one for free.
Been there.
I was trying to get like an
Same.
internship. I couldn't get it.
I was
anything.
unhireable.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember looking at it in San Francisco State.
Yeah.
Like, look up your job, graphic design, and like how many people are doing it. And there's like colors, and like red's the worst.
Oh,
There's
no.
like all the Bay Area. Everybody wanted to be a graphic designer.
Wow.
Marketing guys just red.
Yeah.
And there was a climbing gym right next to my house, which is the greatest thing ever. Shout out to Damien at Bridges Rock Gym for hiring me.
Shout out Damien.
And great guy, cool gym, and hired me as just a front desk person. And I did graphic design there, did T-shirts, climbed all day long. Best job I've ever had in my life. Loved it.
Did you climb up the ladder?
I did.
The proverbial ladder. I love it. I love it.
Got me into
That's
rock
what Jared's here for.
Yeah. And but at that time, I still wanted to be an artist full time. I didn't want to like be a front desk person.
Mhm.
And so I was applying for jobs all over the country. Everybody's like Austin, Texas, but I was applying in every state.
Really? You were willing to move?
Anywhere. I was desperate. Me and my wife were living on a little, tiny, basically 1-bedroom apartment. So expensive in the Bay Area. It was insanely.
Mhm.
I mean, it was beautiful. Love living there, but very hard to live at like no money.
Mhm.
And got a job in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
And just got my little Honda Civic, drove there, and got the job, and got fired shortly thereafter. There's a whole story behind it. It's all fine.
Okay.
But I ended up at another company who hired me actually as a salesperson that did screen printing too. So it ended up being good because I got hired as a designer, got fired,
Yep.
got hired as a salesperson, and then learned everything I need to know about T-shirts.
Yep.
It ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me.
Mhm.
And
Learn from your failures.
yeah,
I love it. I love
Boom.
it.
Yeah, my wife, so I had my job. My wife had packed up our apartment, was driving to Austin when I got fired.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I'd already got our apartment, everything.
Wow.
And so
How long did it take you to tell her?
Oh, it was rough.
Yeah.
It was tight because like her dad was driving with her in the U-Haul.
Stay tuned for part 2 to find out how Jared and Chris leveraged their struggles into success. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.